Hamilton just got the confirmation every rival feared. Ferrari is not coming to Austria with hope. Ferrari is coming with a plan. A new power unit step, a revised shell fuel blend, a second aerodynamic package, a radical rotating rear wing, and the bigger ADO upgrade still waiting for Monza. But here is the part that makes this terrifying. Hamilton already won in Ferrari Red before the full plan arrived. He already cut Antonelli's championship lead from 66 points to 41. And now Vasseur is giving him the one thing he needed most. Proof that Ferrari is still getting stronger. Austria may only bring around 5 horsepower, but the full target is around 30. So if Hamilton can win before Ferrari reaches its ceiling, what happens when the real performance finally lands? Mercedes has reliability scars. Red Bull's advantage is being hunted. McLaren is being squeezed. And Hamilton may have just realized the Ferrari dream is no longer a dream. It is becoming a title fight. Subscribe to the channel. Ferrari did not need Austria to be the final chapter. That is what makes this so dangerous for Hamilton and terrifying for every rival watching him. Because the moment Vasseur confirmed the direction of Ferrari's Austrian upgrade, the story stopped being about one race weekend. It became about something much bigger. A development path. A championship opening. A reason for Hamilton to believe that Barcelona was not just a perfect moment, but the beginning of a serious chase. And Hamilton knows the difference. He has been in Formula One long enough to recognize empty optimism. He has heard teams talk about upgrades that never transformed anything. He has seen wind tunnel promises disappear on track. He has seen cars arrive with new parts, new language, and new confidence, only for the stopwatch to expose the truth within minutes. So when Ferrari brings an upgrade, Hamilton is not impressed by words. He is impressed by evidence. And before Austria, the evidence is starting to line up. First came Barcelona. That one mattered more than the trophy. It mattered because it proved Ferrari could execute around him. It proved the team could take a decisive strategy risk and make it work. It proved Hamilton could stand on the top step in red, not as a symbol, not as a marketing fantasy, but as a race winner again. That changes the emotional chemistry inside a team. Before a first win, everything is still theoretical. After a first win, the whole garage breathes differently. The driver trusts a little more. The engineers believe a little more. The mechanics feel the effort is becoming visible. The pit wall starts seeing race-winning possibilities instead of just damage limitation. And for Hamilton, that is when a project starts to feel real. But Barcelona alone was not enough. One victory can still be dismissed. Rivals can call it timing. They can point to the virtual safety car. They can talk about Mercedes losing Antonelli late. They can argue Ferrari got the perfect opportunity and converted it, but that does not automatically mean the car is ready to fight every weekend. Hamilton would know that too. That is why Austria matters so much, because Austria is the next test. Not of emotion, of direction. Ferrari is bringing a new power unit step under the ADO framework, a revised shell fuel blend, and its second aerodynamic package of the season. The SF26 already carries the radical rotating rear wing concept that makes Ferrari's development route feel different from the rest of the grid. That is the part Hamilton would understand immediately. This is not one isolated part. This is Ferrari trying to connect the whole car. Power matters, but power alone does not create a title fight. Aero matters, but aero alone does not close every weakness. Fuel matters, but fuel alone does not transform a season. Driver confidence matters, but confidence alone cannot outrun a faster rival forever. But when all of those things begin arriving together at the same time, after a breakthrough win, the meaning changes. It starts to look like a plan. And that is exactly what Hamilton needed. Because Hamilton did not move to Ferrari just to hope the badge would be enough. He did not leave behind the familiarity of Mercedes to live inside nostalgia. He did not make the biggest emotional switch of his career simply to become a beautiful story that finishes behind the real contenders. He came for a fight. A final, historic, impossible-looking fight. And Vasseur's upgrade path is the first real sign that Ferrari may be building the tools to give him one. The Austrian step may only be around 5 horsepower at first. On its own, that number does not sound like the kind of thing that should leave a 7-time champion speechless. Hamilton has driven cars with enormous performance advantages. He has also driven cars where every tiny gain mattered like gold. He knows 5 horsepower is not the full story. The full story is that Ferrari is legally allowed to recover. That is the twist. Ferrari's internal combustion engine was behind the benchmark by enough to qualify for ADO assistance. At first, that sounds like a weakness. Ferrari was down. Ferrari needed help. Ferrari had ground to recover, but the regulation turns that weakness into a route forward. Extra homologation windows, a first real step at Austria, a larger step plan for Monza, a wider target of around 30 horsepower across the season. That is what changes the mood. Because now Hamilton is not just hoping Ferrari finds performance somehow. He can see where it might come from. A champion does not need certainty to start believing. Certainty almost never exists in Formula One. What he needs is a credible path. A reason to think the next race can be better than the last. A reason to believe the car's ceiling has not been reached. Ferrari has given him that. And for rivals, that is terrifying. Because Hamilton with uncertainty is dangerous. Hamilton with a visible path is something else. He starts thinking in sequences. Austria is not just Austria. It becomes the first proof point. The next races become pressure rounds. Monza becomes the bigger strike. Every point between now and then becomes something to protect, something to steal, something that may matter when Ferrari reaches the next stage of its development. That is how Hamilton reads championships. He does not only ask, can we win this weekend? He asks, can this weekend make the next one more dangerous? That is why Vasseur's confirmation is so powerful. It gives Hamilton a way to imagine the season turning. And once Hamilton can imagine a title fight, he starts driving like it exists. That is when rivals have a problem. Mercedes most of all. Because Mercedes knows exactly what Hamilton becomes when he believes. Toto Wolff has watched it from the inside. He has seen Hamilton take small openings and turn them into pressure that lasts for months. He has seen him sit close, force mistakes, and make rivals feel like the race is never truly safe. Now Mercedes is the team being hunted, and the timing could not be worse for them. Antonelli's championship lead has already been cut from 66 points to 41. That gap still matters, but it no longer feels untouchable. Not with 16 races remaining. Not with Ferrari improving. Not with Hamilton carrying fresh belief. Not with Mercedes already suffering reliability pain. That last part is crucial, because Ferrari's upgrade does not arrive against a flawless rival. It arrives against a leader with scars. Antonelli's car cut out in Barcelona. Russell has already suffered major lost points through failure. Mercedes may still be fast, but it has shown vulnerability. And Hamilton knows better than anyone that a title race changes when the leader stops feeling safe. A safe leader manages. A vulnerable leader defends. And a defending leader can be forced into mistakes. That is what Hamilton will try to do if Ferrari gives him the car. He does not need Ferrari to become dominant overnight. He needs Ferrari to become close enough. Close enough to make Mercedes think about strategy instead of comfort. Close enough to make Antonelli push when he wants to manage. Close enough to make Russell defend when he wants redemption. Close enough to make Wolff think about reliability, driver balance, and Hamilton all at once. That is the real weapon. Proximity. 5 horsepower can help create proximity. Aero can help sustain it. Fuel can help sharpen it. Hamilton can turn it into pressure. And pressure can change a championship faster than raw pace alone. That is why the Austrian package matters so much. It might not be the final version of Ferrari's season. In fact, the source suggests it is not. The bigger power hit is expected later. Monza is still hanging over the calendar, like a threat waiting to be activated. That means Austria becomes the first question. Does the direction work? Does the power step show up? Does the aero package make the car easier to trust? Does Hamilton feel the difference? Does Leclerc become more dangerous too? Does Mercedes start watching Ferrari more closely? If the answer to those questions is yes, then Hamilton's reaction becomes completely understandable. Because he will know something before the championship table fully shows it. Ferrari's ceiling may be moving upward. And when a car's ceiling moves upward while the driver is already gaining momentum, the whole title picture changes. That is where Leclerc enters the story. Hamilton may be the emotional center, but Leclerc could become the multiplier. If the Ferrari upgrade improves qualifying balance, Leclerc becomes a major problem. He has the raw speed to put the car somewhere rivals do not want it. He can split Mercedes. He can pressure Red Bull. He can create strategic options that make Hamilton's race easier. 1 Ferrari can chase. 2 Ferraris can trap. Hamilton understands how valuable that is. A title chase becomes far stronger when the team can use both cars. If Leclerc is in the fight, Ferrari can attack from different angles. 1 car can undercut. 1 car can extend. 1 can force Mercedes to cover. 1 can sit in clean air and wait. That gives Vasseur options. And options are what Ferrari has often lacked in the moments that mattered most. A faster car gives hope. A two-car strategy gives control. If Vasseur can create that, Hamilton's title belief becomes far more realistic. This is why rivals are watching the upgrade so closely. They are not just asking if Hamilton gains a few kilometers per hour. They are asking if Ferrari is becoming complete. That is a much scarier question. A complete Ferrari has power recovery. A complete Ferrari has aero efficiency. A complete Ferrari has two drivers in the fight. A complete Ferrari has a team principal timing the season instead of reacting to it. A complete Ferrari has Hamilton believing the impossible might be possible. That is why the reaction around this upgrade is so intense. Because Ferrari has been fast before. Ferrari has had promise before. Ferrari has had drivers who could create magic before. But the missing piece has often been whether the team could connect everything at the right moment. Austria may show whether that connection is starting. And if it is, then every rival has to rethink the season. Red Bull has to look at its power advantage differently. Ferrari's ADUO path means that benchmark is being hunted. Maybe not erased in Austria, but challenged. And if the bigger Monza step lands, Red Bull's comfort could shrink even more. McLaren has to look at the competitive order differently. If Ferrari moves forward, McLaren gets squeezed. Mercedes ahead, Red Bull strong, Ferrari rising. Suddenly, every qualifying position, every strategy window, every podium chance becomes harder. Mercedes has to look at Hamilton differently. Not as an emotional story, as a real threat. That is the shift. Before Barcelona, rivals could respect Hamilton without fearing the full Ferrari project. After Barcelona, and before Austria, that is no longer safe. The project now has momentum and development together. That combination is what leaves people stunned. Momentum alone can fade. Development alone can disappoint. Momentum plus development can turn a season. And Hamilton knows it. He has lived through championship years where the decisive moment was not the biggest headline. It was the moment a team realized it had found the direction. The moment the drivers started trusting that every race could build toward the next. The moment the rivals stopped looking distant and started looking reachable. That is what this Ferrari confirmation could represent. The moment the unreachable becomes reachable.